I also have a letter from Honorable Unisa from the Deba Emirate Council, confirmation of a traditional title with gratitude to Allah. I am pleased to convey to you the approval of His Royal Highness Alhaji QS Ahmed Usman, Emir of Deba, the conferment of traditional title of Kangiwan Deba. This is in consideration of your contribution to the development and well-being of Deba Kingdom, Gombe State, and the country at large. Formal turbaning will be considered at a convenient time in due course. Accept my warm congratulations on your well-deserved consideration for this great title. Aliu Usman, the Secretary to the Deba Emirate Council. Congratulations, Honorable Yunusa, on this great title. Honorable colleagues, you are now clapping for Honorable Yunusa. We're going to skip a few things and just take one or two things and move to debate on the budget. Honorable Maki, please just read your title and petition. Honorable Sergius.
Constituent, Mr. Christopher Oko, against his unlawful dismissal from the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. I crave your indulgence, Mr. Speaker, to lay this petition.
You may lay your petition, please, Honorable Sergius.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Shaba Ibrahim.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Shaba Ibrahim. I represent Lokoja Kogi Federal Constituency. I'm from Kogi State. Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, I have three sets of petitions here. The first is from Wilson Legal. It's a petition against debts being owed by the Federal Road Maintenance Agency. The second is an official complaint from concerned indigents of Isimiri Autonomous Community, which is an oil-bearing community of Ukwa West local government of Abia State, against the Abia State government. But last but not the least, Mr. Speaker, is a petition from Engineer Said Mohamed Shoaibu against the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing on alleged trespass to land by agents of the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. With your kind permission, Mr. Speaker, may I have these petitions laid before the House? Thank you, sir.
Please go ahead and lay your petition. Deputy Speaker. Hold on before you lay.
Yes, sir. Your Excellency, my name is Ahmed Idris, member representing Wase. I'm concerned about the words he choose to use, autonomous community. And I do not know the meaning of autonomous community as far as our constitution is concerned. Why is his placement? This is a parliament of Nigeria that will have sworn to protect the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I don't know the meaning of that autonomous community, sir.
Honorable Shaba.
Let me say, sir, respectfully, that I don't know the meaning either. This petition is being laid on behalf of a constituent on behalf of a constituent who feels shortchanged in respect of some of his civil obligations. Maybe from the content of the petition and the substance of it may not derogate from the heading that is the subject of this observation. So I respectfully crave your indulgence, sir. Maybe when, upon a careful perusal of the petition, the purport of autonomous community would be borne out by His grace.
The chairman of public petitions should please take note that there's no such thing as an autonomous community under the Nigerian constitution. Maybe the meaning or the intendment may be different. So when this thing goes to the public petitions committee, they should thoroughly interrogate that and make the necessary corrections in their deliberations.
Copied, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any other? So, all petitions refer to the Committee on Public Petitions. There's nobody here from Business as Rules. Where's the chairman? There's a matter that's supposed to come up today. I don't see it on the other paper. And then I see that the other paper is loaded. I don't know when we're going to get to consider the budget debate. Honorable Maki, quickly, maybe just read your title and prayers. Okay. Yeah. Are you a member of the committee? You are not a member of the committee? Okay. Is there any member of the Business and Rules Committee present? I think many of the members are. Okay, let Ben. Ben, you be the pretender to the throne for today as the chairman of Business and Rules, and hopefully you'll be able to answer many of the questions. Yes, Maki.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues. I'm Abubakar Maki, Leman. I represent Madam Kaugama Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity, and you asked me directly to go to the motion and also the prayers. A timely intervention by the federal government through the Ministry of Health and other related agencies to urgently address the
Honorable John Deere, please approach the chair.
In Malamuduri Kaugama Federal Constituency of Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, my prayers are that the House Committee on Health should immediately look into this issue and liaise, urge and ensure that the Ministry of Health and other health-related agencies take immediate steps in order to protect the lives of the good people of Malamuduri Kaugama Federal Constituency in Jigawa State from further death as a result of the malaria infestation. The second prayer, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, is to anti-malarial drugs, mosquito net, and frequent as well as periodic fumigation of the constituency should be ensured in the federal constituency. I so submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Leke, please, second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Leke Abeji, this is my name. I represent the good people of Yagba Federal Constituency. I'm from Kogi State. I rise to second the motion as moved by Honorable Maki Yaleman. I so second.
Those in favor of Honorable Maki's motion that it's urgent and should be taken, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor, you read your motion, right? I'm trying to move with the speed of light, so excuse me if we're taking some shortcuts. So those in favor of the motion as read by Honorable Maki, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Leke Abejide.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Lake Abuja, this is my name again. I'm from Kogi State. I rise to move the motion of urgent public importance under Order 8, Rule 4 and 7 to move the motion on the urgent need to resolve the debacle between the Central Bank Technical Committee on Comprehensive Import Supervision Scheme and Adani Mega System Limited, hindering the takeoff of Nigeria Customs Service e-Custom Modernization Project. I so move, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues.
Honorable Siaka.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished honorable members, good morning. Ibrahim Ayokunle Siaka is my name. I represent the very good people of Ifo, Ewekoro Federal Constituency. I'm from Ogun State, Mr. Speaker. I rise, Mr. Speaker, to support that the House do suspend all our relevant rules and accept that this motion is of topmost urgent importance to the nation that it should be taken now. I so support you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, sir.
And those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Leke.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, urgent need to resolve the debacle between the Central Bank Technical Committee on Comprehensive Import Supervision Scheme and Adani Mega System Limited, hindering the takeoff of the Nigeria Customs Service e-Custom Modernization Project. The House are aware that the Central Bank Technical Committee on Comprehensive Import Supervision Scheme had agreement with Adani Mega System to engage the latter as service provider / vendor for screening service infrastructure for the inspection of all inbound and outbound cargo in Nigeria. Also aware that Central Bank of Nigeria, in the said letter of engagement dated 16 February 2017, also stated its statutory mandate to manage and supervise the project as provided in section 13(1), 15(1), and 5 of Pre-Shipment Inspection of Export Act and Pre-Shipment Inspection of Import Act. Further aware that a build, operate, and own agreement between the Technical Committee on Customs on behalf of the Federal Government of Nigeria and Adani Mega System in relation to the provision of the scanning services infrastructures, that is scanners, required for all operations was sealed, and a certificate of no objection was granted by BPP after evaluating the profile of the company, which is Adani Mega System. Concerned that the level of engagement had reached the turning point whereby Adani Mega System had procured all necessary equipment to commence the e-Custom project as provided for in contract, but since July 13, 2017, the project has stalled without solution in sight, further causing tremendous revenue loss to the federal government, which according to the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, had earlier appraised the potential of this system yielding up to 176 billion over the course of 20-year concession period. Also concerned that the moment Nigeria Customs Service, at the moment, they still remain in the analog era of conducting 100% physical examination, which in itself is a major cause of congestion at our ports and greater loss of revenue to our dear country. Worried that dispute between these two parties is at such a time of alarming rate of entry of undetected arms and ammunition into the country, ports and border stations as a result of no functional scanners. Note that the 2022 budget provided for 3.9 trillion for debt servicing alone, and this aside repayment of principal, only the debt servicing. If the e-custom is allowed to take off by settling the issue between the federal government of Nigeria and Adani Mega System Limited, the issue of borrowing will be reduced to the barest minimum, if not eradicated. Because the Nigeria Customs Service will be able to generate twice, if not thrice, of what they currently being generated. Despite all these obstacles, there is possibility that Nigeria Customs Service in this 2021 will generate over 2 trillion naira. Further notes that for the interest of the country and to reduce country's debt profile, the lingering crisis between the federal government through the Central Bank Technical Committee on CISS and Adani Mega System Limited need to be urgently resolved. The House resolved to mandate the House Committee on Customs and Excise, Committee on Finance, Banking and Currency to invite the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, the Chairman, CBN Technical Committee on CISS, the Minister of Finance, the Controller General of Customs Service, and the Managing Director of Adani Mega System Limited in order to resolve the matter for the takeoff of the project and report to the House in 4 weeks. I so move. Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. Thank you so much.
Honorable Benny Bakwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Honorable Ben Roland Igbakwa. I represent Ethiop East, Ethiop West, by the special grace of God from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion. Ably moved by my brother, my chairman of Custom. I beg to second.
So, Honorable Leke, so this basically has to do with revenue generation, enhancement of invariably. Okay, well, just put a question. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk, please make sure you generate a letter conveying the resolution of the House to, I believe, what was your prayer?
Thank you, Your Excellency. Mr. Speaker, the prayer is mandate the House Committee on Customs and Excise, Finance, that is Committee on Finance, Banking and Currency, to invite the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, the Chairman, CBN Technical Committee on CISS, that is Comprehensive Import Supervision Scheme, the Minister of Finance, the Controller General of Customs, and the Managing Director of Adani Mega System in order to resolve the matter for the takeoff of the project and report to the House in 4 weeks.
Okay, then I think this has to be done quickly because it requires funding for us to effect this.
Exactly, sir.
So
this will reduce our borrowing and even the security aspect, which is more important.
Let's quickly effect this resolution immediately, please, since we're in the budget season. Thank you. Honorable colleagues, we're in a budget season. The Committee on Poverty Alleviation, unfortunately, lost its deputy chairman some time ago. Honorable Expensive, will be replaced by Honorable Chinedu Oga. Honorable Chinedu Oga. The first order of the, no, sorry. Honorable members, the business of the day is presentation of 4 bills, and I invite the clerk to read their short title.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Merchant Shipping Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2021, first reading. Legal Practitioners Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2021, first reading. Federal University of Health Science and Technology Care Establishment Bill 2021, first reading. Federal College of Nursing, Midwifery and Health Science, Isi Alamba, Imo State Establishment Bill 2021, first reading.
So, Honorable Ben Gallo, since you are representing the, oh, yeah, yeah, lucky. I was about to fire a question at you that I knew you wouldn't be able to answer. I just saw that the chairman is already here. Hi. Chairman, can you excuse us for a minute? Let Ben come back there for a minute. Let him continue to act. Ben, go back there. Act as deputy, as the leader of the House. So, Honorable Ben, we have debates today on the budget. How come the other paper is so loaded? And when do we intend to get to the issue of debate? Why did you load the other paper like this?
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I remain Benjamin Okezekalo, sitting in for the chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business. Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, due to COVID, a lot of issues that we needed to take care of were extended. Because of such extension, it has, rolled into the period for our budget consideration. The nation will not stop functioning because we are doing budgets. Therefore, in the wisdom of the House, of the committee, we decided to include very few. Mr. Speaker, what you are seeing on this document, there are very few considered compared to what we already had. It took us pain to
It's all right. It's okay. All right. Chairman, you want to remain there or let him just be permanent? You want to remain there? Ben, you can go back to your seat. Chairman. So we'll go straight to the, I guess they're just third readings.
This is the network service of the NTA. We'll be joining our outside broadcast crew for another live
of a woman with disability can be utmostly felt. Beyond the access, okay, beyond...
Let me pause you there and leave that question unanswered until we get into the audience and get some of your views. But let's take to Professor Mutiu, a member of the community. And Prof, by the way, you know we're very proud of you. You're a member of persons with the disability community, and you've done us proud by being a professor of political science in the University of Abuja. Give us your take on disability inclusion, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jake. And I want to express my profound gratitude to each and every one of us that are physically present here to also lend a voice to the rights of persons with disabilities. Let me first of all try to make some clarifications. You know, we from academics, we always like to go by the Socratic traditions of getting each concept being properly defined so that we'll be able to use this concept appropriately without any confusion. My father from Federal Road Safety passionately mentioned that he would love the concept of disability to be replaced with a physically challenged. And I said, sir, you are advocating for something that is not even acceptable to disability communities. And going by the United Nations Convention on Rights of Persons with Disability, it has been settled and it has been unanimously resolved that we should stay with that concept of disability. And it is very important for us to know what is disability and what is inclusion, so that we'll be able to know how to use these two major concepts in our discussion. First of all, when we talk about disability, it simply means an individual who has a long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairment. That's the most concise, most precise definition of disability. When you see an individual with a long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairment, then such a person is living with disability. And the main reason why this aspect of impairment I mentioned is to categorize the person with disability with their clusters. So it is very important for us to understand that. Then going by the inclusion, and this is where the issue is. Over the years, before 2015, several decades ago, persons with disability have actually been marginalized, discriminatory in form of the way and manner things have been done. They've discriminated against persons with disability a lot. Until 2015, when we had a very important promise, which made the disability community to be excited, widely excited, that a commission will be established that will take care of the needs of persons with disability in Nigeria. I think at this juncture, I want us to clap for our president for this wonderful implementation of persons with disabilities. He actually walked the talk by establishing this commission. And again, since then, persons with disabilities have been given voice in the polity of Nigeria. However, the predicament of persons with disability goes beyond having National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. There are a lot to do in order to make these people have a fair deal in Nigerian polity. If you look at what inclusion means, it shows that for any inclusion to take place, we must ensure that person with disability is being given the opportunity to perform, to participate, and of course, to be involved actively in the social activities, not even the political activities alone, the social activities of any society on equal basis with other people. That is to say, we should remove all sort of non-accessibility that will make them not to participate actively in the social life of their society, because they have a lot to contribute to the system. And when you look at the democracy itself, I think I need to state unequivocally here that if you talk about democratic ethos, what it means is that for any democracy to be deepened, it means all the citizens must be given the opportunities to participate actively in the political process of their society. In that case, what do you do with such huge number of persons with disabilities? What do you do with such huge population of 29 million people to be marginalized, to be discriminated against, to be excluded in political process of the country? What will you do with that? It means we cannot achieve serious democratic development in our society unless and until persons with disabilities are being given opportunity to participate in the political process of their country. In the first instance, how many ministers do we have as persons with disabilities? Do you have any? If there is, let me know. Thank God, the Honorable Minister of Information mentioned the Senior Special Assistance to the President, and we've never gotten beyond that. How many honorable members of House of Representatives do we have? Do we even have any senators that are living with disabilities? These are the people that are making laws about how the life of this person with disability will be better. And I want to tell you that we have many capable people in disability communities who can perform excellently well. In fact, in solving the insecurity in Nigeria, in making Nigeria to attain its national development, and of course, making Nigeria to be one of the best countries in the world. We have people with disabilities who have all what it takes to transform this country from a pariah nation to a developed and transformed society that we have been aspiring for all this while.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Thank you. What a place and what a note to just pause you. It's just a pause. Now, we carefully chose Mr. Hamza because Mr. Hamza is not just the coordinator of European Center for Electoral Support in Nigeria. Mr. Hamza was once a member of the European Union Parliament and had he's very passionate about the minority group and actually worked with the minority group when he was in the Parliament. So, Mr. Hamza, let's take a peep and tap your brain on issues surrounding disability and how the European nations have gone ahead to create a framework that is able to mainstream disability.
Thank you very much, dear friend and dear Jake. Good morning, everyone. I'm very honored and pleased to be with you this morning, so thank you for having me. And I extend the greetings from on behalf of ECES, from ECES Management. ECES is the European Center for Electoral Support, and we are very glad and privileged to work here in Nigeria since 2017, supporting the electoral process in the country. First of all, if you allow me, Jake, I'd like to say that I very much like the concept of national transformation as such, because it says a lot about the societies where we live and about our lives, because our lives are a journey from a point A to a point B, and this journey is transformative. We change through this journey by the experience that we learn, and we also impact our environment, we impact the people we meet through this journey from this point A to this point B. And the national transformation is the journey of a country from a point A, which is the current situation, to a point B, which is the desired one. And when it comes to PWDs, and it has been mentioned earlier this morning, the desired situation is the one with equal opportunities, the one with no discrimination, and to put it in other ways, full citizenship for citizens with disabilities. So this transformation from this point A and to this desired ideal situation takes, as it was also said by the speaker earlier, a holistic and comprehensive approach, 360 degrees action, but also words. I think we need the two elements as two legs to move forward. We need words and we need actions. Words is what is about sensitization, speaking to people, explaining what disabilities are, trying to explain that there is no reason to have these negative attitudes that generate to discrimination, and this goes through words, meeting, engaging, sensitizing people, and of course action. Action is all the public policies that can be taken by different authorities, and we heard this morning some of them. I heard indeed the creation of the National Commission on Persons with Disabilities, and all the initiatives taken by the government, and so many others. So words and actions together can contribute indeed to move from this point A to B. As ECES, we try to take our own part, indeed, in this, humbly, supporting INEC and other electoral management bodies in Nigeria at the state level. And we try to also impact the electoral process because, as my colleague just said here, political participation is key to allow this change to happen. There's a say that if you decide for us, without us, you are deciding against us. And I very much like this say. It says a lot about the inclusion. It says a lot about ownership. It says a lot about involving people in the political decisions. And on this note, I think regarding the electoral process, there are three elements that I would like to highlight, and maybe this is also from my experience that you referred to, Jake, in your introduction. First is to find ways to increase the representation of PWDs as candidates to elections. And this is mainly on the shoulders, if I may say, on political parties. They have an important responsibility, especially because in the Nigerian case, by virtue of the constitution, they are the only vehicle for citizens to access to representation, to the national representation. So political parties have this responsibility to open their doors and find ways to facilitate the nomination of candidates, PWD's candidates. But it's not only for candidates, it's also for voters. If we want to ensure that the voice of PWDs is heard where it has to be heard, and especially where the decisions are made, it's important that they can go and access and express their vote, because expressing the vote is expressing, of course, the voice. On this note, I must commend INEC for many initiatives that have been taken these past years. To name a few, I'm thinking of the development of Braille information, the presence of magnifying glasses at polling units, the fact that they grant priority access to PWDs when they arrive at polling units, the very important effort they invest in engaging with stakeholders to sensitize them around the PWD's situation when it comes to the vote. So these are examples of elements that can improve the participation of voters. And finally, to close, if I may, Jake, just take a few more minutes. As beneficiaries of public policies, PWDs must also have the opportunity to express their priorities, and we have to find these priorities in the manifestos of political parties, in their political platforms ahead of elections. And one element that will help ensure that we are collectively moving towards this direction is also to ensure that the media play their role in keeping all these authorities, all these political parties, all these electoral stakeholders accountable for what they are doing, for the pledges they are making, and to ensure that this is made public. And civil society organizations, of course, have a similar role to play, not only to keep these authorities accountable, but also to advocate and for the priorities of PWDs. And these are examples that I could indeed personally experiment in my previous life in politics in Belgium. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and a very good example. I think, ladies and gentlemen, we owe these panelists a round of applause. Now, I'm just going to go through just one round of questions for each of the panelists. I want this to be as engaging as possible. Once they take their question, I'm going to get up. I was actually sitting in for a friend of mine who was supposed to be doing this, and I think, Manji, you're back. So what I'm going to do is bring back Manji, but also hold on the microphone. I want to go into the audience and let the audience be part of this conversation. You will ask your question directly, and, of course, engage the panelists in a conversation. So, with much ado, let's welcome Manji to come.
Thank you very much, Jake. Thank you, distinguished Minister, distinguished members of the High Table, our distinguished guests, and our panelists. I think Jake has opened up the floor for questions from the audience. Can we have another microphone go around? Yes. And I can see some hands already being raised. So we'll take them directly and see how we move on from there. At the back, over there.
Please, when you take the microphone, kindly introduce yourself before you ask a question.
Yeah, Mr. Ariz Okoye. I have three things. One, I wish the federal government, thank God the Minister of Information is here, to give a seed money to National Health Insurance Fund, 2 trillion as a start-off grant, as seed money, to fully kickstart an effective and efficient national health insurance program. 21st century offers unprecedented opportunities, and we must key into it. Number two, I want the governing board of the National Health Insurance Scheme to have one person with disability. Number three, I will wish that 25% of National Social Investment Program fund be dedicated for people with disabilities. Thank you. I don't know if anybody took down.
Thank you very much, Arinze, for your contributions. Can we have the other hands that are up there? We're taking note of your comments and contributions.
Yes, my name is Oyin Onuhemba, a producer with Everson. On the issue of, Pro spoke so much on the issue of political participation as an inclusive mechanism. I would like to suggest, and then ask him a question. I'd like to suggest in this case, political participation in this case implies making a person who is contesting on the platform of a political party to have that platform without any form of hassle. In this wise, I might like to suggest that if political participation is to favor persons with disability, knowing the other prejudices and other circumstances surrounding, it should be that the electoral law should make it that person that should be nominated, one must be person with disability. For example, for the House of Reps, Senate, or governorship, or as the case may be, from Senate, down the line, at the local government level. Then I may ask, are they thinking this way, or are they pushing something to that extent? That's number one. Then number two, on the issue of inclusiveness in public service appointments, and likewise, we have Federal Character Commission that look at issues of employment based on the geographical zone and so on and so on and so. Are they thinking in this way, to inform Federal Character Commission to say, expand your condition to include persons with a disability? Are they thinking in this wise? These are the two questions I may like to pose to them as a suggestion and as questions. Thank you.
Just a brief reminder that Aondo Mbawoyi is my brother from Benue State. If there are certain things he said you didn't understand, you can meet me at the end of the day. I will explain that to you. And please, these are questions we're asking. If you have questions, that's what they're taking right now. I don't think it's contributions yet.
Thank you very much, MC, for chiming in. We have, yes, we have a lady over there.
I have the mic already.
Oh, all right, go ahead. I thought you were.
All right, thank you so much. My name is Olajide Funsho Benjamin. I am the General Secretary of Persons with Disabilities in Ekiti State. Let me sincerely appreciate this panelist, most especially Prof. I think you have spoken passionately, and I think it was because you are also from the community, and then Madam Ene also, of course, being from the civil society. And then let me thank the federal government, ably represented by the Honorable Minister here, most especially for the National Disability Act, as well as the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities that has been established, and several others. However, I am going to state this, and then I'm going to ask a question thereafter. That there is a difference between being included and being used. Being included and being used. There has been several times that we have always talked about inclusion and inclusion and inclusion. But at the end of the day, by the time you look at it critically, you come to the realization that, of course, we have been used. There are times that persons with disabilities will be invited to various forums, and you realize that they are just there just to make up the number, not to come and participate. And I think that is one of the reasons why this set of panelists should help us to open up on that concept of inclusion. What inclusion really means. It's just like you inviting me to it's just like you inviting me to maybe a town hall meeting on citizens' needs assessment on budget. And at the end of the day, I've seen situations whereby only, political party members will be the one talking about what they want for the society without giving the real citizens, without giving persons with disabilities the opportunity to actually make their contributions. Let me appreciate the government for having SSC on disability matters, also having the executive secretary and the board members and that. But of course, various people here today have spoken about the fact that, yes, we need someone in the Senate, we need people in the House of Rep, and this and that. Now, my question to the panelists is this. In your own personal view, would you say that we have gotten to that point of inclusion in Nigeria? Or at the moment, are we just being used? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Olajide. But for the rest of you that will be asking you your questions, you would agree with me that if you don't go straight to your question, we would be spending so much time here, and we would lose the participation of some of our very important guests that would want to hear your very, very valid contributions. So please, just go straight to the point in 30 seconds and ask your question. It's very important so that we maximize time and we're also able to make much impact on this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the moderator. I want to begin by appreciating everybody here. The name is Ade Ona Daniel. I'm a person with albinism and the General Secretary, Albinism Association of Nigeria. I am so impressed with what is happening here. I want to thank the minister for creating time to sit through what we are doing, and also the senior special assistant to the president for listening into this very important conversation. I have just one input here. We shouldn't be talking about political integration. Why do you talk about political integration when you have not included them economically? Persons with disabilities have not been included economically. How do you expect somebody who is economically on the downturn of the ladder to begin to participate in any political event? I think we should first of all focus on economically empowering people or persons with disability. For instance, we're talking about the minister mentioned all the other things that the federal government is doing to empower persons with disability. But I'll tell you, we have 29 million of us living, and he's talking about 3,000, 40,000, and is that economic empowerment? I am of the opinion that we should shift our focus from political empowerment to the economic empowerment, because if your stomach is empty, you cannot do anything politically. Thank you.
Thank you. We are still not abiding to the rules of engagement, and I don't want to abruptly cut us while we're making our conversations, because I know how sensitive it is and important for us to make our contributions. Please, if you don't have a question, hold on. Let's have those that have questions so that our panelists can respond, to your questions. If you have a question, go straight to the question so we can proceed.
Thank you very much. Standing on the existing protocol, my name is Olabi Kayode Paul, Chairman, Joint Association of Persons with Disabilities, Ekiti State. My question goes to the National Orientation Agency and other agencies that are concerned, that how can they actually, through publicity and otherwise, assist us to ensure that the law for persons with disability in Nigeria, both at the federal and at the state level, is actually implemented. Because it's not only that the bill has been signed to law, a lot of content in that law are very meaningful and powerful that can go to some extent in solving the problems of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. So I want the National Orientation Agency and other agencies that are concerned to tell us how they can, to what extent they can assist us to ensure that those things, the content of the law, are fully implemented. Thank you very much.
Hold on, I want to go to the ladies. So let's have some ladies make their contributions. We have about 2 ladies over there.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Josephine Omolola, the coordinator of the Albino Foundation Lagos State Chapter. I just want to ask the panelists and everyone involved in the affair of government, what actually is put in place for us with regards to health. There is this issue of health insurance going around. What are they going to do for persons with disability to have access to free health? We all realize the fact that health is wealth. Without proper health, there are a lot of ailments. With albinism alone, to prefer money for skin cancer is deadly, it's cumbersome. We all know what is cancer. Not to talk of skin cancer. A lot of us are dying in silence. Majority of us are dying in silence in this country with skin cancer. And that is why I'm posing that question out now, to know what actually the government is going to do towards this. Secondly, I want to enlighten us on this phrase we've been using, that we say physically challenged. Physically challenged people are one cluster out of the diverse clusters we have in the community of persons with disability. We have physically challenged, which includes the polio survivors and the SCAN, that is spinal cord injury, and amputee from diverse accidents. We have intellectual, those with Down syndrome and others. We have the albinism, like me. We have visually impaired, which is the blind. We have hearing impaired, which we refer to as the deaf, and the dumb. The autism belongs to the intellectual. We have diverse like that. Unless we realize the importance and the needs of diverse community in the cluster, in the community in the persons with disability cluster, we will not be able to provide the right care for them. So I want to disabuse the mind of the general public that when we talk of persons with disability, we are not talking about physically challenged. It's just a cluster. Thank you.
Thank you, Josephine, for your comments and the question. Yes, so we would have the 2 ladies there, and we end
the person who is about to ask now is going to be interpreted. What she's going to be saying will be interpreted to us. So please, let's pay attention.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, sorry, everyone. I greet everybody on high table. My name is Abdulwasiu Monsurat, former Abuja Association of Deaf Women leader. My question is to ask, we are discussing about inclusion this morning. Inclusion. But as we deaf persons sit here, nobody think about sign language interpreter for deaf people. And we are talking of inclusion in health. We hear about of it, no interpreter. Even if I look at TV, no interpreter, no sign language interpreter. I only sit down and watch. Except from 7 p.m. news that I see interpreters on TV. It's not good for us deaf not to be able to hear what they are doing. We are all the same and equal and one family. Please, let's think about this to establish interpreters to be able to get information. We are appealing to our Minister of Information this morning for the interpreters at TV stations and hospitals. Thank you. It's very important.
Thank you very much for your contribution. The last one behind you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Hajia Maria Ishaka, Vice President, North, Albinism Association. My question simply goes to Mrs. Ene. Please, Ma, is there, you started something about this menopause thing. Can you shed a little more light on it? Because especially we, the albinos, when we get to that menopause stage, it's an entirely different story from the other normal people. Like in my state, there was a lady who is going through menopause, and the way she was reacting, people started saying she has gone mad, which is not madness, but a menopause symptom. Please, is there a way we can shed a little more light on it so that we will advocate for it? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we will come back to the panelists. We have heard a lot of your contributions. A lot of them were in the form of comments. Thankfully, we have the Honorable Minister here and the Senior Special Assistant to the President on media, who are very key. And I'm sure will transmit a lot of your recommendations that you have made today. If they have any comment to make specifically to these issues, I'm sure they will indicate to us on the issues that you've also raised. The issues of employment through the Federal Character Commission, access to health and affordable health care, the issue of candidate nomination process, which was also raised earlier, the issue of sign language interpretation on national TV. I'm sure these are very concrete elements and actionable points that could be taken from here. I think I would come back to and start with you, Mrs. Ene, on this particular issue, the last question that was raised, as well as any other comments you have on the points that our audiences have.
Okay, we'll have, so that we don't keep our audience here and special guests waiting, we'll have more conversation. You recall that when the guest speaker spoke, he talked about holistic approach. And from all the questions and the comments that have been expressed, even the anger, it then calls for more holistic approach to inclusion so that we'll be able to achieve national transformation. Let me talk about the hot flushes that happen when you get to menopause. I'm not a health person, but haven't experienced it myself. I didn't know it was even a male who said, look, you are an activist. You need to understand hormonal changes in women so that when you're advocating, your advocacy will be holistic. That was my saving grace. I never heard it among even activists. So what happened is that because you've been losing blood every month, either through menstrual discharge, and when you are at the age of giving birth, you continue to lose blood when you give birth, right? Because once the baby is coming out, it comes out with minimal blood. I don't mean excessive blood. Because the blood is trapped you no longer expel all that. It's trapped, and they interplay with other hormones, begin to give trouble to your body. What you said is right. When it was happening initially, they thought I was too impatient because you are advocating, you are not really making much progress, so you are carrying on the anger, it's transferred aggression. For persons with disabilities, particularly because of the attitude we have towards them, the likelihood is that, okay, even this one, it has added madness to what is even happening to her. So that is also the ignorance part of it. This is why we call for change of attitude, attitudinal change. It's not likely that the law alone will be able to address that, but unless we on our own begin to change the attitudes, just like the guest speaker said, the attitudinal change will come the way we relate to them and when we ask questions. Because you can see that from the interplay, the conversation, there are people who are afraid of persons with disabilities. Others are still, they have superstitions about persons with disabilities. So many misconceptions that need to be clarified. Brother, generally the participation in politics in Nigeria and governance, we've been told from what we see too, there is just a percentage that is representing us. So if they say it's a percentage that's representing us and that we don't have a middle class, it's the upper class and the lower class. You and I still belong to the lower class. I don't even belong to the upper class. So issue of being involved actively with politics, taking decision, we have not been able to reach there. I recall if Dan Lamy was here, he would have told us what happened. When women groups met, when he was the national president of Joint Association of Persons with Disabilities, come and speak to us. And he requested the women that, look, you are asking for 35% of positions, appointive and elective, to be given to you. Can you cede 50%, 5% to women with disabilities? He almost got beaten. And these are marginalized groups, so you can see. So what is playing out there is also attitude. If everybody is asking, we need to be included, we need to, because we can do better, the country can be better. And we are not seeing it happening in terms of attitude. Even presenting themselves to be held accountable. People, everybody, civil society, corporate Nigeria, I don't want us to focus so much on government because we know all over the world. I'm not trying, I know people will be so quick to go to section 2 of the chapter 2 of the national of our constitution. But if that is not happening, what about others in the society? Corporate Nigeria, what about social corporate responsibilities? What about international organizations? What about different traditional rulers, religious organizations? Oh, sorry, Bishop John Praise is not here. So what is also their responsibility towards citizens in terms of inclusion and integration, so that everybody will have a sense of belonging, and it is then we can own the country Nigeria, and it is then our productivity can be properly harnessed, and we will now know that we are all equal citizens. Then the humanity will play out. So I think generally this is what I have seen. Yes, all of us are in a hurry. We are asking a lot of questions. But some of the people who should be asking these questions, unfortunately, are not here. The lawmakers, the pillar of democracy, they do the oversight, the law, as well as the constituency project, which should be the closest structure of governance to us. So I think for all of us, part of what I will say is that because I'm also marginalized, I'm also feeling it. So what we can do is to begin to continue to engage and begin to ask questions. And those in authority should present themselves for accountability, because nobody should be asking for things that ordinarily should be delivered to the person. Nigeria is such a beautiful country, very rich country. Nobody is supposed to be excluded from anything that is good, because we have enough to be able to go around all of us. It's just for us to see how we can redistribute it so that everybody is able to have. So I like us to have this sense and see how we can ask more questions, and we'll be able to move from there. It is our right to be included, just like our brother said. It is not so much about the law. I am somebody who believes in social communication, behavioral change communication, social behavioral change communication, the communication that can change mind. If we threaten some of the leaders, it will not bring us much. It will just create more gulf between us. So leaders will be accessible so that we can ask some questions. Thank you so much.
Prof, in a minute or two, how can this nation be transformed, leveraging on political and economic inclusion of persons with disabilities, when we consider, of course, a lot of the points that our audiences were asking? How can we transform this nation?
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying that there is no two way to it than to be actively participating in political process of our society. What we have forgotten, particularly going by the question asked by my brother over there, Mr. Ade, that when you talk about the social investment, when you talk about the poverty-ridden society, every problem of the society can only be resolved through policy formulation and implementation. Who are the people making policies? They are the government officials. They are policy makers, policy implementers. If you are not there to ensure that a policy that will affect and change or transform your life is being formulated, how is your predicament going to be changed? This is the salient question we need to ask ourselves, that persons with disability need to be given the opportunity to participate actively, not to be used, like one of my brothers there said, not to be used during campaign electioneering to add to the numbers, because that is what many politicians are doing. They will go to the streets, assemble all the persons with disabilities, and go and put them on the political platform. That this is the kind of people that we are assisting. And I want us to understand one thing, and understanding it will make us to change our perception about it. There are about 5 models that have been developed to explain disability community. The first one is charity model, medical model, religious model, but the one that I think we should go with is human rights model. The charity model is what many people believed in. Majority of people believe that given the person with disability the opportunity to participate in political life, political process, public activities, is that you are doing favor to them. You are being helping them. You are being charitable to accommodate them. This is a very wrong model. It's a very wrong perspective in the disability community. Each and every individual, even going by the United Nations Atlantic Charter that emphasizes on self-determination, each and every individual must be given the opportunity to participate on equal basis. On equal basis, we have to ensure that a person with disability is being given the opportunity to participate actively in the political process so that we'll be part of those who will be formulating and implementing policy. It is being enshrined in the Disability Act that 5% should be reserved. 5% of employment, 5% of everything should be reserved for a person with disability. The question is, who is implementing this? Who is implementing it? We have so many persons with disabilities that are adequately educated, that are eligible to work. I can tell you that the majority of them are ravaging with unemployment. And when you are unemployed with disability, it's a double wala. It's a real problem. It will make life to be miserable to such category of individuals. I have a good number of them that we are struggling, we are begging for them to be employed. We encourage them to go to school. They've gone to school. They have graduated. And yet, there is no job for them. How do we do this kind of a situation? And that is why if the person with disability is among those who are making laws in the National Assembly, in the State House of Assembly, in the presidential cabinet, in the government cabinet, definitely he will personally pursue the implementation of this law to favor persons with disabilities. But when you don't have anybody who will argue for your case, We just discuss it, we organize a talk show, everybody will talk, we take tea, we take everything that is available, and we disperse. Next time we'll come here again and talk about inclusion. Even the so-called able-bodied men and women, they are also suffering from poverty. If it is poverty that will make you not to participate in politics. They are suffering from poverty. Poverty is a general phenomenon. In fact, it's a common denominator for Nigerian people. And that is why things must be done to ensure that millions of Nigerians that are ravaging in poverty today must be moved out of poverty. But when you talk about poverty to general individuals, you must be specifically emphatic about person with disability. A person with disability living in poverty, his own poverty has moved from what he known to be abject penury to what I called exacerbating poverty. Person with disability. Yes. Person with disability is actually living with exacerbating poverty. And that is to tell the government that something needs to be done urgently. Remember, J. Kepele said that if you refuse to give us our right, we will take it. And I wouldn't like government, because we have so many individuals in disability community. And I can say that when you see person with disability, these are people that combine intellectual agility with academic prowess. Forget about their disabilities. They are capable to do anything. If it is force that the government is asking for, we are not expecting the government to push person with disability to such situation. Let us use the amicable means, amicable mechanisms like this to discuss this inclusion. It's very, very important. You cannot continue to exclude 29 million Nigerians out of political process, and we are comfortable that we are governing well. There is no good governance in a country, in a society where 29 million of people is being excluded from the political process of such country.
Thank you, Prof.
That is that.
Prof.
I think you give me 1 minute more, please.
Okay.
The other area I want to talk about is education of persons with disabilities. Many persons with disabilities are aspiring to be properly educated, but unfortunately, because of their predicament and predicament of their parents, and also the discriminatory tendencies of the society, they are unable to be educated. I think government needs to do something very drastic on this. I want a situation whereby the federal government will make education to be free for persons with disabilities. Let the person with disability enjoy free education from primary to the university. This is very important, because when you look at many of us, if we are to tell our stories, I will tell you what I encountered, right from the family members, from the society, and from even the lecturers who are to teach the person with disability. The kind of discrimination I suffered while I was growing up, if not because of my determination, I wouldn't have attained these sources in education. But not everybody could be so rugged to withstand this discrimination. I know good number of people that have dropped out of the universities, that have dropped out of secondary school because of discriminations. And that is why federal government need to do something. But let me tell you, nobody can say for sure that he will not be part of the disability community tomorrow. The fact that you are still living, you need to live your life to assist humanity. And the beginning of assisting humanity starts from assisting persons with disabilities. I think I'll rest my case here for a while.
Thank you, Prof. Olasupo, for that intervention. And finally, Hamza, do you have any last words with regards to how you think the electoral or political process could be leveraged upon to ensure that the persons with disabilities are mainstreamed?
Yes. Thank you, Manji, and thank you all for your questions. Maybe quickly, I'll be building on the answers of my colleagues and some of the comments made by the audience. One very interesting point I found was the question of economic integration versus political integration. That was a very interesting way of putting things. What I believe personally is that they are not incompatible. They are not in opposition. Of course, you may ask yourself about the priority that you are putting at front, which one will be coming first, but I think they are not in opposition. Basically, I even think that they reinforce one another. The more politically integrated the community is, the more economically integrated it will be. Why? Because one of the major roles of the national representation, the National Assembly, the Parliament, one of the main roles of the Parliament is to make the decisions on the budgetary priorities, because the needs are huge and everywhere. And so who will decide how the distribution or redistribution of wealth will be made? As my colleague said, Ms. Ede, she mentioned the redistribution of wealth. The wealth is here, present, and indeed Nigeria is known to be one very rich country. How this redistribution is made is something that is decided by the national representation. So the economic integration of PWDs can be secured by their representation around the table where these kind of decisions are made. So this is why I truly believe that not only the two are not in opposition, but one reinforces the other. And it also answers the question about the role of political parties on how they open the participation to PWDs into their internal processes to nominate candidates and to make at least the voices of the PWDs community heard and put as a priority. Maybe a final word. Also around this economic political integration. This word, I like it very much. It's solidarity. Solidarity is not about charity, like you mentioned. I liked the presentation of the different models indeed. I also believe that the human rights approach, which is the citizens' rights approach, is the way to go, because this is the model that considers that we are all equal as human beings, and it's not a gift that the authorities are giving you by including you. It's a responsibility of the authorities to include you, because you are one of the citizens of the country. So in this approach, solidarity is an approach that says that one contributes based on their capacities, financial capacities, but one receives based on their needs. And this is the idea around solidarity that may work with the PWD's community as well. So people across the country contribute to the national transformation based on their capacities, financial capacities and other types of capacities, and citizens receive the benefits from the public budget, from the available resources in the nation based on their needs. I think this is also something that maybe emphasizes this full citizenship approach that I truly believe in. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hamza, for that comment. And to the end of this session. So you also know, we've been informed, indeed, we have a very seasoned rapporteur in the House who is taking notes of all of your contributions and your comments, and those will be transmitted to the Honorable Minister and all the distinguished personalities that we have here for further action, so that we do not leave any of our issues unattended to. Indeed, the inclusion of persons with disabilities, as we've rightly heard, is not about the rights of persons with disabilities alone. It's fundamentally an issue of human rights, the rights of being human. And I think we all have a key role to play. There are several aspects of this inclusion that impacts each and every one of us. When you look at it educationally, healthcare, political participation, electoral, and every other aspect of life that we can think of. Security as well, as was mentioned earlier on by our security agencies and the role that they play. We hope that platforms like this is one of the most critical elements, serves, as a bridge, to allow you interact with policymakers, key decision makers within government, the corridors of power, so that a real change and transformation, can be achieved. And I guess with our leaders here today, Jake, we would be able to monitor a lot of the outcomes from this particular convening. And when we have future meetings like this, reports around, the concrete, elements that were harvested from this meeting and impacted, the lives of persons with disabilities would be evaluated. So thank you very much, Madam Ene Ede, Professor Olasupo, and Hamza, Fasifiri, for your interactions through this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, moderator. Please, let's be seated for a minute. Medically speaking, it's not good for us to be seated for more than 3 hours at a time. So can I ask you to rise up and put your hands together for these people? Just stand up very briefly. Thank you. Let the blood flow through your veins. Thank you very kindly. You may take your seats. And please, panelists, we can ask you to take your seats. Now, moderator, please officially hand over your microphone to me so that we know you have returned to the Master of Ceremonies. Thank you very kindly. Thank you so much. We all agree it's been quite informative and educative. Now, there are 3 persons we're going to invite very quickly. One of them being the Minister of Information. But because he's our boss, he's going to speak last. He will wrap everything up everybody has said, and then we'll go. But first, let me invite a scholar, a very outstanding man, Professor Shuaibu, our former DG, for just a few remarks very quickly. After that, the man who has been one of the major contributors and sponsors to this event, Dr. Sunday Ishaka, will say a few words, and then the Honorable Minister will wrap everything off, and then that's where we know where we're going from there. Professor, please.
Standing on existing protocols, I want to say just a few things. Liman, thank you for continuing the tradition. The media is an agenda setter of society. Once the media is failing, the society will crumble. In order not for this annual lecture to be a ritual, to be an exercise in analysis paralysis, I want to tell you that there are three centers of solution to national problems now turned calamities. One of the center of our solution is in academia. And I'm talking from experience. I'm a broadcaster all my life. I retired about a few years ago, and I entered the university. And by the grace of God, I'm an associate professor with Bingham University. I have seen society. The center of solutions to national problems now turned calamity are in 3 centers, the solutions. 1, in academia. You heard this professor talk, and you heard the professor from University of Abuja talk. The academia remains the only center whereby the cerebral capacity of people in academia cannot be cowed from thinking by political miscalculations. Number 2 center of solution to our problem lies in the CSOs. The CSOs cannot be victims of narrow identity politics. Madam, who was here, Ene, is a living example. When you are being railroaded by religious bigotries, tribalism, egocentrism, which is the problem of the big 3 inherited by the 250 minorities in Nigeria, the CSOs cannot be victims. The last center of objectivity in Nigeria is the media. For Forget about brown envelope syndrome, narrow identity analysis, tribalistic newspapers, egocentric broadcasting centers. The media remains the center of excellence. That's why I congratulated my colleague for carrying the tradition. The media remains the only organization. That's why it's called the fourth estate of the rim. The only organization when a nation is falling and crumbling. The special advisor to the president will agree with me, and the honorable minister will agree with me, that in history, when nations are fumbling and tumblings, the media comes to rescue because of one theory. And the theory is rooted in Macomb's theory of agenda setting. Finally, I will appeal to our policymakers. We live in a society now where judiciary has been compromised, where parliament has a lot to go now. We should resort back to these three centers of excellence for our national calamities to be addressed. And God will help us to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. When the professor is speaking, I was only hearing ism, ism, ism. Egotism, bipocutism, activism, all the isms. Oga is a big book. A round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen. I have the privilege to invite one more person before I call my minister. And this is the country director of the Site Savers International. He's been one of the biggest sponsors of this event today because he believes in what we're talking about here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sunday Ishaka. A round of applause for him as he quickly steps forward. The last time I met Dr. Ishaka, he spoke for just 2.5 minutes. I don't know if he's going to increase it today to 3, but it's okay if you can manage 3.5 minutes. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, moderator. I will speak to 2 minutes. I think we need to get out of here. Unfortunately for me, I'm speaking after a professor has spoken, and so I'm not going to try to match him. I will go straight to the point. First, I want to stand on the existing protocols, and I want to sincerely appreciate FRCN. I think this is what every broadcasting organization should do. You have demonstrated that you know what the issues are when it comes to human beings. Let's look at persons with disability as human beings first, and all our problems will be solved. As civil society organizations, we try to support and provide the enabling environment generally for human beings, but most especially for us, persons with disability. We've all had great speeches today. The barrier is attitude. If you treat persons with disability like human beings, everything, I assure you, everything will be fine. Before I sit down, I just want to say that in the last few years, the community of persons with disability have seen a great change in this country. We have been there struggling to get the bill signed into an act. It has been signed. Struggling to get the government to set up a commission. That has been done. We might not be moving as fast as we all want to move, but at least we are making progress. The Hausa people say, those who understand, you know what I mean. So, Honorable Minister, I will not sit down without saying this. You have done well, but you can do better. Thank you very much.
That's Dr. Sunday Shaka. He's the country director of Site Savers International. For those of you who didn't hear what he said in Hausa, he said each person here should contribute 20,000 for the Master of Ceremonies. That is all he said. There's nothing much to that. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor and privilege for me to invite back to the microphone, the Honorable Minister. And please, let me bring the microphone to you now, where you are. You're going to address a few issues, your government sitting here today. A round of applause for him, please.
Thank you very much. Once again, I want to thank everybody here, especially my colleague, whom I virtually hijacked here. That's Malangar Bashiru. And I want to thank all the participants and contributors. And I want to also commend the audience for the decency and their sophistication. Actually, even when the question they were asking was meant for the minister or government, they pretended that they were addressing the panel. I do appreciate that. I think a lot has been said today. But one of the take-homes for me, and which I believe is very important, is that the attitudinal change is the key to inclusiveness. This attitudinal change is not just with government, with all of us, especially religious and traditional leaders. We must overcome the myths, the unfounded, unscientific explanations for how people come about with disability. And we must implore our people to change the narrative so that it will be easier for everybody to be included. Government can only build structures. We can only make programs. We can only pronounce policies. But the real change will come when we change our attitude. I know that a lot of things have been asked what the government should do or not. But more often than not, we forget that we are running a federal system of government. And what that means is that there are some matters which are on the exclusive legislative list, which means there's just responsibility of federal government. There are others which are on concurrent list, which means it's shared between federal government and state. And there's a third list, which means it's actually neither for government, state nor federal. It's actually it's actually the responsibility of the local government. So when you look at the primary education, the federal government has no business at all with primary education. Ditto with primary health. Most of the activities of government is actually more of intervention in these areas. So, and this is why it's important that let's talk about the government of Nigeria and not just the federal government. Because the government of Nigeria comprises of state, federal, and local government. And until we all do our own bit, we will not be able to achieve the ultimate. I just want to say that in the area of this attitudinal change, the NOA has been collaborating a lot with the various organizations and groups that represent people with disability. I know that there's a partnership between the NOA and the Albino Foundation, and I'm sure that Professor Jake will attest to that. I know there's a partnership with various groups and people living with disability in the area of advocacy. I know that the NOA has embarked on sensitization and mobilization of citizens, public and private sectors, to include people living with a disability. I know that there is as a matter of fact, we talked about making our public facilities friendly and accessible to people living with disability. I'm proud to say that the NOA has reconstructed its building today to make it very accessible and very friendly to people living with disability. We do involve the people living with disability in all our programs. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Are we back? Thank you. We have also worked to provide platforms for people living with disability to present their needs, which have been, transmitted to government. And I know that the ministry will make available all our platforms, be it NTA, be it FRCN, Voice of Nigeria, or even News of Nigeria, to people living with disabilities, so that we can create that consciousness, we can create that awareness for them. Of course, we've done capacity building of NO staff on the National Disability Law. We've worked on integration of key messages on rights and privileges into the NOA social mobilization activities. Now, but I think for me, the most important thing is that please judge us, this administration, from where we met the situation of people living with disability and where we are today. We will not claim and we cannot say that we are going to resolve all issues pertaining to the challenges facing people living with disability in 8 years. No. But the truth of the matter is that until this administration came, there was no statute to protect and promote the interests of people living with disability. There was no commission. I said here that 100,000 people living with disability enjoy conditional cash transfer every month. Yes, it might be little, but there was none before. I said 40,000 people living with disability have been enrolled into Empower program. It might be little, but there was none before now. So we only continue to build what we are saying, but once that we recognized that these challenges are there, I said that we've appointed about 10 people into executive positions who are people living with disability. It was never been done before. So please, it might not be enough, and we'll continue to do more. But I think you need to recognize that this administration in particular has been the most friendly to people living with disability. I'm very touched with the contribution of the young lady who said there's need for sign interpreter during the network news, 7 o'clock news. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the NBC to please direct all our television stations to ensure that there are sign interpreters on all television news programs at least. And it's not just NTA, whether it's a public or a private television station, would try to encourage them to ensure that they have sign interpreters. That's the only way. It works both ways. It works for us as government too, because it means a large chunk of our citizenry will also be included in what we dish out as news. Before I close, I would just want to, remind the FRCN, while commending them for this platform,
that the extra money they've been making from the diversification, they should please pay to government. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Minister did not just want to say that he wants to add more money to FRCN. I'm sure it will come. Please, Hawa, please.
Yes, please. Thank you very much. We had a conversation about this earlier. So it's not about my promotion this time. It's about the commitment that he just made. It takes a lot of integrity to stare in the faces of millions of Nigerians and say we are going to do this, and we know they are going to do that. So please, put your hands together. Right, so research has shown that deaf children appear to be far more creative in their language production skills than typically is assumed. And they also demonstrate considerable flexibility in structured comprehension tasks. Now, I'm pleased to inform you that you are about to experience this creativity, and I would appeal to the members of the high table. I understand you probably might have things you want to do, but please, I would urge you to sit back and enjoy this performance by children from the School of the Deaf. Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister, just 1 minute we beg of you. Just watch how amazing these children are. They are from the School of the Deaf, and they're going to present a performance. Please go ahead.
Good day, sir. Good day, Honorable Minister, and all the distinguished guests. My name is Chima. I'm a staff of Abuja School for the Deaf. Here are our special needs students. Sorry for coming late. Our boss has a challenge. That was why we came late. Sorry. So we are here to present drama and cultural dance. We have Igbo and Yoruba and Hausa Fulani. So they are going to showcase what they have. And one of the major things that we do is that we don't hear, but we act. We can dance without music. Our music is in our hearts. So today you are going to see some of our special skills. We have a lot of cultural dancers, but because of the cultural costumes, we are unable to come up, and they were even crying when they saw their mates wearing those ones to come. So please, you help us look into it. Thank you, sir. We have a special drama, firstly.
What's the title? Just tell me, I will tell them. Together we build our nation. So they are going to act the drama now. Should you just watch, or you're going to interpret for us? Okay, we'll just watch. Very well. Okay. But let it not delay the...
This is an Igbo man. He's coming in. That paper on ground represents the map of Nigeria. And this is a Yoruba man. The Igbo man came and said that Nigeria is his. Why the Yoruba man say he belongs to Nigeria, that he cannot own it alone. The Hausa Fulani man came pursuing them, that is the honor of the nation.
That is the Hausa Fulani man with a stick.
He picked the Nigeria map, and he is dragging it that is his own. And the Gbagi woman came in. She said, no, she's Gbagi, she's an indigene. And she's the owner of this land, that the land belongs to them. So the Igbo man is saying, no, he is an indigene too. So this woman now came. She's one of the Nigerian indigene too, but not Igbo, not Yoruba, not Hausa or Gbagi. She said that they should all reason together. They should come, let all of them reason together, that together they will build Nigeria, that Nigeria is for us all. Thank you. And here we have the Igbo dancers. If you remember, I told you that we dance, we have our music in our hearts. Without music, we dance.
Are we not putting our hands together for these lovely people?
Igbo dance.
Yeah, from what I can see from here, Hawa.
And we've gone to the west, I believe.
The amazing thing is some of us even listen to music, but you can't even dance the way they are dancing.
Right.
And they have their own music in their hearts.
Thank you very much.
There's another set of dancers coming out now.
I think these are the ones from the west. If I'm
These ones,
correct.
yeah, I think they look more like your people. Hawa. Okay, they're Yoruba, okay.
Oh, well.
Okay. Okay, you see by the waist movement, that is how
Yeah,
the Yorubas move, yeah.
I was going to say that, but I
Yes,
didn't want to.
by
go
their
too
waist
forward.
you shall know them, yeah.
Yes.
That's how it's done. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
This is amazing. This is very interesting.
Okay, I think when you mentioned my people,
Yeah.
these are the ones you were
Thank
referring
you.
to.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, these
Thank
ones
you,
are the
Honorable
ones.
Minister. Thank you, the distinguished
Hey,
guests.
there's another set coming. There's a full man behind you. Is it not going to? Yes.
Yes, House of Fulani.
This man, yes. I like the Fulani on. Okay. I don't know how true it is that before you marry, you are flogged by several strokes. I don't know if somebody can explain that to me.
That's
Yeah.
not true. It's not true.
It's not true?
No, it's not.
Okay, because I'm imagining that stick now flogging somebody because he wants to marry a wife. It's okay. Thanks for that clarification.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the emir is telling us that all you need to do is just to be strong. That's what it means.
Pretty much.
That marriage is not for the weak.
True.
It's for the strong-hearted.
Very much so.
I'm imagining somebody in your size and height, what it took to marry you.
Marry me, I mean.
Must have been 70 strokes of koboko.
Thank you very much, children.
Thank you. A round of applause for them, ladies and gentlemen. Can we give them a standing ovation if we can, please? I don't think that's too much to ask for them. Thank you. Thank you. We love you. We love you. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. May the good Lord bless you. And may he punish all your enemies in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. A round of applause for them. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. All right, Hawa, please.
Those were the children from the School of the Deaf with their performance. Please, let's put our hands together one more time for them. And for one last performance, earlier Solomon said, we don't just read the news, we are also performers. Yeah. Okay, so I've been asked to put that on hold. Before we see the last performance of the day, I'd like to please welcome Mrs. Nsushima Ki. She's the Director of Programs, and she's
the chairman of the organizing committee of the FRCN annual. Can we give her a huge round of applause, please? I call her the lady with a golden heart.
Thank you very much, MC. To God be all the glory. I want to start my vote of thanks by thanking God Almighty for making it possible for us to see this day very successfully. My next vote of thanks goes to the Honorable Minister. Sir, we are very proud of you. We are proud of you because normally when we are starting our planning for our annual lecture, we take 3 topics to you, and you pick one. But this time around, only one topic was taken to you, and that was this very topic. And we were all afraid that you may turn it down, but you expressly approved it. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much again for taking your time to be here with us from the beginning to to the end. Thank you. God bless you, sir. I want to thank the guest lecturer for a very incisive lecture that we believe will change the situation of persons with disability in Nigeria. All we are saying in this lecture is that persons with disability should be given equal opportunity with able-bodied persons. Radio Nigeria has tried it, and we have discovered that they are amazing, they are wonderful, they are productive. We have a deputy director programs in Abuja operations. She's a person living with disability, but she's one of our best producers. Where this particular lady will enter, most of us will not be able to enter. Give her assignment today. She will do it so well. And we have so many of them like that. So we are asking Nigerians, corporate organizations, to emulate the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria and give a chance to these people to prove themselves. And I'm sure Nigeria will be better for it. So we thank our DG very much for buying into this topic. Immediately it was presented to him, and for all the encouragement. We thank our discussants. You are awesome. God bless you. I don't want to waste time. We want to thank the Emir of Zazzau, ably represented here. Please, we appreciate the Emir so much. We have been communicating with him, and he assured us that he will be here. But something came up, and he wrote a personal letter to us that he will not be here, but he will send a representative. Thank you, sir. I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank the representatives of the service chiefs. I want to thank all our invited guests. I want to thank our former DG, Dr. Professor Shaibu. You are always with us. God bless you. I want to thank our sister organizations for always being with us, particularly NTA. It was just 2 days ago that our DG wrote to the DG of NTA that he should give this event a live coverage, and he approved immediately. NTA, God bless you. We want to thank our partners, the Albino Foundation. Pastor Jake Ekpele is a wonderful person. He has driven us crazy. I think after today, I'll go and DG will approve a week for me to rest. He will not allow you to sleep. Every day we are together till late hours planning for this event. I want to thank you, sir. I want to thank the EU delegation to Nigeria. They are the major sponsors of this event. Everything you are seeing here, sponsored by them. Thank you very much. We want to thank the site savers. Site savers were wonderful. We got your contribution. The wife of the Kebbi State Governor is also part of the sponsors of this event. We want to express, we know she's listening to us. We want to express our appreciation to her. We want to thank the directors of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria who came from different parts of this country. You are always with us. God bless you all. And everyone that is here, we thank you. Particularly our colleagues from the mass media. You are awesome. Yesterday, just yesterday, we held a press conference, and most of you were there, and you are still here with us. May the good Lord bless you. When the history of disability inclusion is written, you will not be left behind. Thank you very much. because we know at the end of this lecture, there is going to be a change, because after all our lectures, there are always changes, and there's going to be a change by the grace of God. Thank you, and thank you again. We'll see you again next time, next year. Before then, I want to thank the senior special assistant to the president of media, sir. We are grateful to you. We are very grateful. We are grateful indeed. Thank you very much. Thank you, the MCs. I will not forget you. You are wonderful. May the good Lord bless each and every one of you. All the security agencies, civil defense, road safety, Nigerian police, you are all here to ensure that everything goes well. Thank you. May God bless you all. Thank you again.
Please, we're not done yet. The Honorable Minister is still seated. Let's have some respect and honor for him. Howard, please come this side. We just have a very special announcement to make as co-MCs, that the Honorable Minister has just approved a double promotion for both of us.
Yes, please.
He is not even aware yet, but I'm sure when he knows, he will say, go ahead. And so, thank you very much, Honorable Minister, in advance for the double promotion. Thank you very much. It's been great working with you. Please, there's one more quickly. Can we?
Yes, please. Let's put our hands together for King Frankie. He's a reggae artist and he's a staff of Radio Nigeria. Please, he will be giving us our final performance for today.
He will do a crazy thing in 1 minute.
There is turnaround era for disability. And I assure you that disability...
Please sing.
Are great. Hit it for me. From my album, Turnaround Era. I dedicate it to disability.
Holy Flames Record. It's Kid Frankie Holy Flame. Again, the king of reggae. It's Turnaround Era. Yeah, man. I am turning around for good. Turning around for good. Reggae is turning around for good. Turning around for good. I am turning around for good. Turning around for good. I am turning around for good. Turning around for good. I'm doing supernatural things, playing good reggae music. I'm doing supernatural things, living my life for reggae music. Bob Marley was here, Peter Tosh, he was here. Hey, Lucky Dube was here, many reggae legends were here.
Thank you.
This is my era, turning reggae music around.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please, when you saw him jumping around, he's not mentally ill. He's just part of the reggae music. Please, let's rise up on our feet as we take the closing prayer and subsequently the national anthem. We begin with the second stanza of the national anthem, that is, O God of Creation, is on page 1, if you can recall by heart in the program. O God of Creation, 1 to go. O God of Creation, direct our noble cause. Guide our leaders right. Help our youth the truth to know. In love and honesty to grow. And living just and true, great lofty heights attain. To build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. The national anthem, please. A round of applause for Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen. We give honor to whom honor is due. Let the members of the high table take their leave.
the Honorable Minister, the Senior Special Advisor to the President, our DG, our Emir, our lecturer, and then the members of the Air Force, and of course the military, everyone, one after the other, then we can leave.
NTA, you can't beat the reach.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the sports parliament. Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA. Keep a date with the parliamentarians.
Your eyes have it.
Sitting is a natural thing to do as humans on a daily basis, whether in the office, at our various businesses, or while commuting from one point to another.
I sit 2 or 3 hours in my office, depending on the job I have on my table.
I do resume work by 9 o'clock, so 9 till 3. You be sitting either you do one patient job to another because we make dentures.
Sometimes when you're in the court, the court starts by 9, and sometimes the session takes up to 3 hours or 4 hours, and you sit through.
During the course of a day's activity, sitting is a must. While sitting itself is not bad, prolonged sitting, experts says, can shorten one's lifespan.
Sitting down makes you sedentary. When you're sedentary, that means that there's very little motion. You may say, after all, you're moving your hands and all that, but the human system is such that movement is supposed to circulate around all parts of the body, the blood system. And so when you are seated for too long, that motion, that circulation of blood is slow. And as it slows, it affects other functions of the body. Your brain, because the blood supply to your head is reduced. You even hear about people stroking in the office. They were seated and they just wanted to stand up and they stroke because blood hasn't circulated sufficiently to the brain. You know, it brings about cramp, diabetes, even hypertension. And recently, to our surprise, it brings about mental problems. Because somebody that is sedentary, you're on the computer, and you don't socialize, you become antisocial, so you're psychologically affected. So, I mean, the hazards of prolonged sitting cannot be overemphasized. Besides exercising at home before getting to work, while at work, I try, like I said, to be up every 45 minutes. If you look to the left side of my office there, you can see that my intercom, which is supposed to be in most organizations, people have it on their table, on their desk. You know, I don't have mine on my desk, not because I wouldn't want to, but it forces me each time it rings to stand up. You know, if you look around my mobile devices, my